All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Monday, April 26th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. I believe I'm good to go across the trading room. Did a small sound check just before we started, but great to see all of our students, Ron, Michelle, Michael, Kathleen, Debbie, Jean, Taz. Great to see you all. And for all of us streaming on social media, there might be an issue on Facebook. I don't know. That's what I got from StreamYard today, a small little tech issue from their end regarding Facebook. If you could join us from Facebook, welcome aboard. Of course, as always, welcome back if you're on YouTube Live. Without further ado, let's hop right into this AMC trade. Wisely, right before we started, I placed the order on the ask to sell at 11.50, and I just got taken out. It ended up kind of just testing 11.50 and holding, but I ended up getting filled on my position. I was in from 11.25 right before we started. It was moving up very nicely from earlier this morning. We'll talk about that more so in just a second, but just a second ago, I was just kind of like flipping through my level 4, my book map. I'm not going to bring that up right now, but it's just to say I was just, cycling through. It seemed like there was a lot of buying off the 11.25 level beginning from the mid-morning here as it was like finishing its first, run up here. But at least going into the early afternoon, I wasn't watching this really as much. So thankfully, as I like to say at times, I ended up avoiding all this crap. I mean, I wish I got in from a lower price, granted, but I ended up avoiding the shakes, the consolidation, the false breaks. I ended up jumping in right here. It broke down below 11.25. I set a stop limit order to buy only if it broke back above it. It did, and I got filled. And man, it was just like saving the stress of ripping my hair out, wondering which way or direction it's going to go here. And I ended up jumping in good timing, just sold right at 11.50. Right away, we'll put this AMC stock on our watch list. I would have thought it would made the cut going into the market open, but we had so many stocks on our watch list to begin. It was hard to consolidate. So with the AMC trade, I mean, just because it wasn't on the list doesn't mean that we're not going to call it out. This is a stock, obviously, that we've been following since the Reddit squeeze, but it's like pretty much every day we're going to call this stock out. It's not to say every day it's going to be moving this well, but every day we're going to be looking at it, making a call out off a major resistance level. So I'm sure we'll probably cover this even further coming up tomorrow in our Traders Talk workshop. But nonetheless, going into the market open, you could just see it on the chart. 1070 was the major resistance. There was actually, and you can't see this part, but there was like a 64,000 share order on the ask at 1070. So not only was it holding well on the chart, but there was just a big fat order on the ask sitting there, acting as resistance. So what happens when a stock breaks through a big level on the way up, especially after the market opens? So long as you set your stop right below you to avoid the false break and the complete potential reversal, which this did not make, of course, you're in a good trade. Now, I will say I missed this trade off of 1070 here this morning. I have no one to blame but myself. Fausto. What? I didn't say anything. I'm kidding. No, but really, he made a call at the time on a different stock. I was turning over to it here in the live trading room, and right as that happened, I failed to set up my order beforehand, at least, but I ended up missing the big pot. I was so pissed. Now, that's not to say that was the end of the run, though, for me. I mean, I always bring this up to you folks live inside Cyber Group, at least, if not in Traders Talk, then especially just from last week's Phase 2 course. If you happen to see a stock make a big move without you, what do? You can move on to another trade, of course, and that I did do later on, but I didn't stop with this AMC. I watched it move up a little bit. I was pretty pissed about the move off 1070, but I do know this. A strong resistance is likely to become a strong support. My best trade today was still on this AMC trade, and I had a pretty decent day. I mean, Monday's volatility was pretty similar to, Friday's from the end of last week, which is pretty interesting to say. Normally the outliers of the week don't provide as much opportunity in terms of like company-specific news or whatever the case may be. I don't even think there was news on this stock. I didn't see any real news on this trade. But it goes to show, though, that you could still grab an opportunity if you're patient. And this is the real line. This is one of my first real Josh lines that I kind of had from years past. For all of our students here, the same 3 or 4 lines that I always say. My original one, be patient with your setup, but quick with your execution. For any of my longtime CTU students like Lewis and Michael, platinum students of ours, you probably heard me say that in years past. Hey, I was patient with my setup here. I waited for this to come to me back down to that 1070. And then from that point, I was quick with my execution. I could have even had a better entry. I got filled at 1073, but I ended up taking it back up over 11. I ended up leaving a lot of money on the table, at least on the continued move up higher. I mean, ended up making the perfect slingshot all the way up towards the 1150 level. And yeah, as of right now, at least taking you into the afternoon, AMC easily. I'm going to put this near the top of our list. It's number one already, but you know what I mean? It will definitely be at the top by the end of it all. Now, man, I got to say, for a Monday, I mean, it wasn't looking that great in terms of pre-market trades. I know Fausto brought that up earlier today during the morning meeting. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of, like, opportunity within the pre-market. But then after the open, really, things changed, and AMC was just one of them. MVIS, MVIS, Microvision, another slingshot up higher right now. So I actually took my eyes off this over the last 10 minutes, focusing on my AMC trade. But man, the Microvision stock, once again, I mean, it made like this inverse head and shoulders pattern leading into the market open. I was calling that out going into 9 o'clock myself. You can see the left shoulder here slightly in pre-market, the inverse head, the right shoulder, and bam, right as soon as the market opened up, ended up making the break over 21, and that was it. I mean, just off and running just about 2.5 points up higher. Going into the mid to late morning, you would expect for there to be a reversal or pullback. I would have thought that between MVIS and the OCGN from Friday and Thursday, that I thought there was going to be more opportunity on the downside today in total compared to the up. I expected the squeeze here after the market open, especially on MVIS. But going into the mid to late morning, I thought there was going to be a lot more of a drop off here. I ended up getting this short from 23 on a false breakout, pop and drop, and I wasted like a decent amount of my profit. I ended up getting out on this trade as it was pushing back over 22. I thought it was going to drop all the way down at 20 and break towards like pre-market levels here. Man, goes to show how strong a stock like this really is. In fact, you could just see based on the trend line I had here, which was holding well off the highs. This was essentially, where I was taking my short. Ended up beginning to break above it and then hold above it here so well. Look at this. Like, goes to show, even on a trend line basis here, resistance here, support, the slingshot up from there. I mean, at this point now, I don't know if this is like really all-time highs. I think it is, but let me double check. I might need to go back just a little bit more. I don't know. Yeah, it's years back. I can definitely go back a little bit further. All right, let's just double check here again. Not all-time highs. Not all-time highs. I mean, obviously 52-week highs, highs back from the last, month. So that looks beautiful. I mean, I'm just looking to see if it's a real all-time high to where there's zero data to work off of on the chart. So that would allow this stock to run even better in our belief. So, nonetheless, MVIS, we're going to put this on our list, near the top, so to say, like AMC. Looks like this ended up oh no, it didn't false break. It ended up just kind of kissing it, then bounced. But you could see the next volume break here, volume spike, when it ended up kind of testing right off 25. Let's see. Yep, there we go. Do a little tape reading right here. You could see the iceberg that started to get filled off 25 here on my time and sales. A good chunk of it looks like, but it goes to show how strong it is. I mean, just on a 1-minute bar, kind of kissed it, bounced right back down, and dropped about 50 cents lower immediately. So I'd even say the next break over 25 for it to false break, and then see if there's a third shaken for it to break above it. But, MVIS, another beautiful move from earlier today and right now. I could probably just like think right off the top of my head right now. Lewis saying here in the chat board, and Michael, I was going to get to this next anyway, but they're saying OCGN was good. And then Lewis following up and saying, for months, people accumulating OCGN as it was going down. Yeah, I mean, we talk about this all the time, though, just generally in terms of seeing a stock make as extraordinary of a move as you saw OCGN make dating back to early Feb. You'd like to think that at some point in time, I mean, certainly, within the days after, maybe a week after, for it to make a secondary smaller squeeze up. But even as it continues to dump off over time for a period of time, months, why can't this stock make a similar type of move back from, early Feb? Not to say the gap up and run up here, but to see this make the type of pop that we caught back in, Thursday last week, then Friday, the pop and drop. I mean, we know how volatile this stock is now. So long as this stock is shortable, it provides great opportunity just as much as it can on the way up. So obviously, here today, it took a while. This stock was pretty like schizo after the open here. So ended up like making a slingshot, but ended up making an ugly consolidation after, and then ended up making a big snap up higher afterwards. So once it broke over the 1135 price, which was really strong going into the market open, that's when it ended up making its big squeeze up. And once again, goes to show a really strong support or really strong resistance is likely to be a really strong support. It's on 30, not on 35 here, but I had my line in pre-market right off this peak, roughly off 35. I mean, essentially created support, ended up making a slingshot, we'll call it, right from that price. Now today, heading into the afternoon, 243 million and counting. I don't know. I mean, we traded this back on Friday. It was more volatile than this. So it might be just slower, even choppier. We'll see what else is out there. I'll just put this on our side list to begin. Wow, AMC is still ripping up to 1162 right now. I'm out of that trade, but perhaps we'll finish up this meeting fast, right? So we'll go from top to bottom right now, see what else we got. We have a couple of these like new companies out, RVPH and SEAH. I think that's like a e-gaming company or sports gaming or betting company. RVPH here. I don't know. Revista Pharmaceutical. Yeah, it looks like a newer company, if not OTC to NASDAQ, that maybe just direct listing, but ended up making this big move up. I mean, this could even be from pre-market, no? Looks like it had like very minimal activity pre-market, but once the market opened up, it got halted on the way up, ended up holding once again support from where it had broken out from, or at least from where it got halted from, and then ended up making this beautiful move up higher later on. And I didn't really follow this trade too much. Ended up making a move up already, up 89%. So if it's not up at the highs right now heading into this point in the day, I'm not as likely to follow it. It is pretty volatile to see a stock accelerate this quickly, just about 3 points, 3.5 points up higher in just about 2 hours' time. That leads me to say that if it does make a smaller little squeeze up here, probably get 30 cents, probably get 30 and maybe 50 cents. Maybe I'll put this on the side list. It doesn't have like a terrible spread. I just want to see if there's a lot better looking than this right now. You know what? This is actually the warrant here, SEAH. I don't know what the hell this is. I think this is like the sports company one, the sports betting one. Sports EA Corp, not EA Sports. But ended up making this weird move in pre-market, low volume, spotty run up. I mean, like way early pre-market. Ended up nosediving even before we were able to trade this at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Squeezed up a bit, made that secondary move up, but then again, look at where it is now. That's my fear for the RVPH trade. So we'll come back to that trade by the end of it, but we'll see what else we got here. The MVIS stock we talked about, the GSAT here. This ended up making a nice squeeze up going into the early afternoon, and right back up it goes. So I'm going to just check to see what the news is here really fast, if I can. My favorite line from Benzinga Pro, basically to say GSAT trading higher, not seeing company-specific news to justify the price action. So, yeah, I mean, for right now, if it's just a short squeeze, I'll take it. Cheap stock, really tight spread, good level 1 to 2 stock. Yeah, right away, GSAT on our list. Resistance to probably assume every 5 cents. Counting from a whole number. So, that means coming up here at 130, then 135, 140. Unless if there's something just that's out there that's like, outstandingly big at a different price. All right. I got a few private chats live from our trading room, which I'll get to just once I finish up this meeting. I just see here from like Will and Dave and Michelle and a few others I ended up messaging myself earlier just to catch up with. Let me ask you folks, really quick pop quiz for all of us live inside Cyber Group. What do you think the news is on this stock? I have no idea, but I can take a guess. Yep. Buyout, says Ron and Michael and Donnie. Yep, looks like a buyout. Proof point says Thoma Bravo offer at 176 per share in cash. All right. So, needless to be said, anytime you see a stock like super flat, you can say even from pre-market, once the news is announced, the stock will move up to the price. If it's overnight or if it's like right at 8 o'clock, it will gap up to the price, then like flat line or just move in a much tighter range. We're not going to trade $172 stock anyway, but for it to make the type of range that you're seeing here, maybe like $1.50 across the morning. We did that in MVIS. We did that in MVIS in like 30 minutes. So, that in terms of opportunity cost, that's why I say, Fausto says it himself mainly, but buyouts, you typically don't see the stock make any sort of like respectable move. All right. Speaking of respectable moves, Casper, this thing's been teasing us really badly today for a pop higher. Ended up making a beautiful run up after the open. I know Fausto commented on this one mainly. Ended up taking it roughly from, I think it was like 820-ish up to 9, but ended up seeing this squeeze up higher later on and just on a false break here. So it's been teasing us for a squeeze up higher. I was watching this stock off its IPO. I don't remember the date, but it was back from like midway last year. Early last year, over a year ago. Damn. So once this sunk off and we weren't able to short it, I moved on. I was wondering when we were going to get like a really good squeeze up. And when I say really good, notice that, of course, it made the bounce back in like April last year. But I'll be honest with you, we were not trading the stock back then. It was not trading the type of volume that we would like to trade out of a stock. I could just normally jump to the daily chart and tell you that we traded a stock based on the volume spike plus the big move that the stock made on the chart. We did not trade this squeeze back up. I wish I could say we did, but here I'll certainly say that we ended up trading this run back up here from this morning. And for right now, it's still near the highs. I'll put this on our list, probably near the middle, near the bottom by the end of it. All right, let's see what else we got here. The CCIV stock, I see the warrants out for there. JFIN, got Skills, bunch of familiar names otherwise. Ooh, look at this. AEZS finally starting to wake up. It was a pre-market move early. It was a big dud, and then right now making a pop. All right, so with GSAT, you also have the AEZS stock between like the two level 1 trades here. Cool. What else we got? BOXL, this was teasing us earlier today. Ended up making a squeeze up towards 255-ish. Made that pullback and then squeezed back up. So, yeah, same with this as the others. Just near the highs of the day, but even more given the afternoon breakout off of like 220-ish, 215. To hold really this well heading into the afternoon, you certainly anticipate for it to move up higher, make a secondary run. Michael says AMC moving. Yeah, I see that AMC moving. I got to finish up this meeting fast. I'm missing out on some big money on AMC right now. Want to just jump to some of the other trades. BNGO, another one here, squeezing up. Took a while to get the gears going on this, but broke out from the 650. Ran up ever since. Like once it broke out 650, there was no pullback. There was no stopping that really. Consolidation. But man, this thing is strong. Market's actually like it was slumping off earlier today. Really not like much to write home about within the Dow here on my 5-minute chart, but just a lot of stocks, a lot of familiar names getting that Reddit squeeze right now. And I mean it. I feel like every stock's a Reddit stock nowadays. Just it's so massive now, that website, that community, Wall Street Bets. It's like literally everything's a Reddit stock because everything is being talked about. There's a stock up 15% or more, it's going to be talked about on Reddit, even if it's not going to make the big move that you would want it to make. So you got to pick and choose. FTFT here just broke out over 4. You know what? We're going to add this. We're going a little long here for this meeting probably, but this will take me right to Bitcoin. And I was waiting to jump on a crypto stock to eventually get my Bitcoin chart up just because, really outside the stocks we've had today, the market was slumping off. Not a whole lot really going on within the Dow, the S&P, but holy smokes. Bitcoin ended up making a huge recovery from the big drop that it had dating back to, Friday of last week, where we were talking about this making like a big drop. It ended up breaking below the 500 EMA here on my hourly chart, and it was teasing the break for a while, but holding above it generally over time. And after this one, I was saying to expect more. I thought there was going to be even further. I thought we were going to see Bitcoin tail off as low as 45K before it penultimately moved up. Hey, I'll take this, right? To see this make the squeeze roughly from 47 overnight, dating back to, what is this even? I think this is 6 o'clock in the afternoon or in the evening yesterday Eastern time, to where it is now. It's just about a 7,000, almost 8,000 point bounce so far. So, gotta love to see it. I wasn't expecting as sharp of a pop right away today, but with that, a lot of stocks, crypto stocks are up. FTFT being one of them. Canon, another one. Lewis says, LOL, still have some more orders waiting there at 45K. Oh, we're not out of the doghouse yet on Bitcoin. Perhaps I should have prefaced it by saying that, Lewis, right? No, we're not immediately going to slingshot up just yet, unless, and I'll jump back to my chart at the end of it. I don't want to go too off course, but, Canon looks good. FTFT is already on our list. Mara, not a whole lot happening there. Riot making a stronger recovery, at least here up so far. But again, I like the Canon trade as well. I mean, I think that'll add that to our watch list so far too. Nice familiar name, moving up just as well as that FTFT. Maybe, and lastly, just before I finish up the gainer side, just whipping stocks out off the top of my head here, EBON. This was moving with CAN on the way down as Bitcoin was kind of consolidating a couple weeks ago. So if Canon was up, I thought EBON could have made a move up. It's just not as sharp. Nice level 1 or 2 trade, but we have better ones than this so far. All right, let's see. That's it across the gainers end here, folks. I mean, there's a lot that's up still. So if there's anything that I'm missing here, just type it in the chat boards. That goes across Facebook Live and YouTube. I'll hop over to the losers list here, and then I'll jump back. Probably wouldn't expect for there to be a whole lot here. Dorm, I don't know. Dorman Products. Bunch of crap hard to borrow on the top of the losers list. Makes that easy for me, really. American Eagle down 6+%. I don't know if that's earnings based. Interesting. It's at the low of the day. Tight spread, liquid order book, enough for us to follow it so far. I'll take it. I don't mind this. I'll keep an eye on this. If it breaks lower. Looks more retail driven aside from the 38K print filled right off of 35.47 here. That seems like a bigger print. So if we happen to see more selling coming in underneath that print line right now, meaning, then I could expect it to break a lot lower. And even if it does that, we're not out of the doghouse just yet. Just keep your eye on the ask here on this trade. If you happen to see a bigger order on the ask pop up as this stock is driving down, then that's the ideal opportunity that you would want to see it continue move down more. What is it, like all department stores getting beat up right now? Urban Outfitters, American Eagle. I always forget Abercrombie and Fitch's. It's not FTCH. I remember that. I always mix that up with something else. Let's see what else we got. Etsy's pretty expensive, I think, right? Yeah. Skechers from Friday, I think. They had earnings on Friday, ended up squeezing up and back down, huh? Don't really feel a need to put this on our list. All right, folks, let me know if there's anything else. I'll check out YouTube first. Then I got a couple of call-outs from Donnie and a few other traders live inside Cyber Group. P Trader, mainly on YouTube. Welcome back. He says, Riot looks stronger than Mara. Definitely. Yeah, he probably wrote that before I made that comment myself. What do you think about Riot for the last hour? Yeah, so, Riot for the last hour, we are not really day trading Riot as much, given the price and given the liquidity more with that. I mean, if Riot had the type of liquidity that Neo has, I'd still be in love with it as a day trade. As a swing trade, I still love it. Just a matter of seeing that make a bigger pop alongside Bitcoin. I mean, the markets have been clearly pushing up to break new highs over the last week or so. I know that we had a couple of shakes here and there, but the S&P even today, if I'm not mistaken, ended up breaking a new high. So that's not the reason why Riot and Mara are dropping off. So I think it could just be some profit taking, and then from there, maybe accumulation just for the long haul. But, as a swing trade, I would just keep a good eye on Bitcoin's move more so. ANF. That's right, Mike. ANF. I always think it's FTCH, but that's like far-fetched, I remember, because I always mix that up. Let's look at skills from Donnie. Ooh, moving up nicely. I said the warrants were on the gainers side. I didn't see this on the gainers then, but definitely going to add this to our list. Yep, good call. MVIS at 27, Taz. Holy smokes. This thing ended up going crazy here over the last 10 minutes since I turned away from this trade. Ended up breaking out all the way up towards a high of 27.80. Now, what happened off the 25 level at first? It just broke out. Yeah, broke it. No looking back. Wow. Goes to show how strong that move really was for it to not even shake back below 25 after. All right, folks. So I'll tell you, I think that we're pretty much good. I mean, the OCGN stock on our list or on our side list, it's just pretty choppy. Not a whole lot happening just yet, at least. I don't mind keeping this off our list for right now. The RVPH, again, like I thought, and get 30 cents out of it. Moved up 30 cents since. I will say with Bitcoin, just before we part ways for all of us on social media, at least, because I'll check back in with you folks, tomorrow, of course. But, we have a big week with earnings week. We have Tesla earnings after the bell today. We have Google and Microsoft earnings after the bell tomorrow. We have Facebook, Apple earnings Wednesday after the bell. You name it. Amazon on Thursday. So, I obviously could be wrong with this. But my guess, because I do not know a damn thing, right? It's just to say my guess is that one of these 5 major companies is going to join Tesla this week by announcing that they're going to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. That's my shoot from the hip guess. If I'm wrong, doesn't mean much. It'll probably just consolidate, maybe pull back down like I was expecting it to anyway. But if that news comes out, that's going to lead to the next big squeeze up. Look what happened the last time that Bitcoin ended up making a big pop. Literally, the last time that had happened was back here. And this was back when Elon Musk ended up announcing that he was putting Tesla on the balance sheet. So, again, I don't know anything. It's just speculation. I certainly hope I'm right. And if I'm wrong, so be it. We'll see what happens from there. But just be on the lookout. I mean, hey, even after the bell today, I'm sure there's going to be some more news out regarding Tesla's strategy to buy Bitcoin when they have their conference call. Then outside of that, again, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, and even outside of them, it could be someone else like an eBay or a Twitter, someone else. Who knows? All right, folks, I look forward to it. Should be a fun week to have Friday last week roll right into, Monday today. It's crazy. So I'm very happy to be a part of it. This is exactly what we train for. We're not meant to be here all day, but if there's a good opportunity, then we'll try and be there to capitalize on it. All right. So I'm going to post and tweet the pics out to you folks right now for all of us on social media. As always, make sure that you like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingu. Outside of that, it's been a lot of talking today. Feel free to join us live inside our trading room. Go right down to the link on the banner below just to get started. All right, for all of you folks there, I'm going to just jump off and back on the mic right around 3:30. Talk to you soon.